everybody. I hope you're doing well. I'm Amy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be setting up my March planner pages. I'll be using these Springtime Capy stickers from Hubman and Chubgirl. This collection is no longer available on their website, but I believe the capybaras with oranges are still available. I'll also be using the coordinating washi tape and some solid color scalloped washi tapes. These are from Paper and Craft Pantry. I've also got a couple of brush mildliners I'll be using and a Pigma Micron. I don't usually create monthly cover pages. I like to have a full 7-day week on each spread, even if the week is split between 2 months. But this month starts on Sunday, and I like Sunday start weeklies. So, similar to last month, I'm using the top of the left page as a mini cover page / jumbo header. I also don't create monthly calendars because I don't use them. I transfer everything directly from my future log to my weekly spreads. So, I'm really only going to be creating weekly spreads. I started this weekly spread with the bullet end of a purple mildliner. I'm making 8 boxes, 1 for each day of the week and 1 for notes. Then I switched to the brush end to create a solid purple stripe on the left side of each box. That's where I will put the header for each of the boxes. I'm not super good at doing brush lettering, so please don't judge my penmanship, but I am using the brush end of a green mildliner for the monthly header. I obviously don't use a Hobonichi, but sometimes I like to use some of the elements from the cousin kit like this one, or the Hobo Weekly kit. I'm going to use the 3 box stickers as the base for the mini cover page, and frame the header with a couple of the bigger Capy stickers. I'm going to be creating layers of washi tape along the bottom of the spread with the scallops facing up and placing a few stickers between the layers of washi. I'm trying to stagger the scallops on the second layer of green washi. I don't want the layers of the scallops lining up with each other. The scallops from the green ended up blocking the faces on a couple of the little cappies, so I had to readjust them a bit. I used my craft knife to lift a corner, then peeled up the sticker. Then I'm layering the patterned washi along the very bottom and along the top of the spread. I'm adding more Capy stickers along the bottom to create layers and some depth, and I finished off the mini cover with a couple of flowers and grass. All of my weekly spreads for this month have the same basic layout, so I'll skip the part where I draw in the boxes and just show the fun stuff. Only the first weekly spread has the mega header, so on the remainder of the weekly spreads, I created a gap in the pattern washi along the top with a torn edge to make space for the header. On the next spread, I accidentally layered the green washi before the purple, and I didn't notice right away, but it's not a big deal, so I just left it. This month ends on a Tuesday, so on the last weekly spread, I'll be putting the last 3 days of March in a notes box on the left-hand page, and then eventually put the first 4 days of April on the right. Flipping back to the beginning of the month, I'm using the date number stickers from the cousin kit to label each of the boxes. Then I'll go through with an 05 Pigma Micron to write in the first letter of each day under the numbers. You'll notice I leave a fair amount of blank space on each spread. I call that my flex space. I usually use that for journaling and memory keeping, but I could use that space for anything I need that week, like habit trackers or additional notes or lists. I may even just add a quote or more decor. but by the end of the month, that space will be filled up. With the weekly spreads done, I will flip to the front of the notebook where I have set aside pages for all of my health trackers for the year. I use two 2-page spreads for each monthly health tracker. I'll start by cutting the edge off the middle page to create a Dutch door using a craft knife and a small cutting mat to protect the pages underneath. Then using a corner punch to round the corners. I'll turn the notebook sideways to write the header along the right margin with the green Mildliner brush marker. I don't do any decorating on my health tracker pages, but I do like to use the same colors to match with the weekly spreads. You can see here the tabs I made for all of my health trackers for the year when I set this notebook up in December. I'm using the bullet end of the Mildliner to label this month's tab with MAR. Now I'll turn the notebook back and add the dates and first letter of each day of the week down the left margin with the 05 Pigma micron. The Dutch door allows the header and the dates to be visible from any part of the tracker. I realized I started writing on Monday instead of Sunday. Luckily, I realized it before I got too far, so I cut a little strip of plain white sticker paper to cover the mistake. That's one of my favorite ways to fix bigger mistakes. If you don't have any spare sticker paper, you could just glue a little scrap of paper. The scrap from the Dutch door would be perfect for fixing mistakes. I'm using the bullet end of the purple Mildliner to draw a vertical line between the dates and the space where I will collect my data. And I'll use the same Mildliner to create the brackets where I will write in the things I'll be tracking. The top end of each bracket is 3 dots to the right of the base. I do that so the lines are a little longer, giving me more space to write. Then I'm using the bullet end of the green Mildliner to create columns under each bracket. Each column is 2 dot grid spaces wide except the last one, which is 3 spaces wide. That is where I enter the high and low temperatures each day. I'll also draw a horizontal line between Saturday and Sunday, so I have a visual separation between each week. Turning the page, with the purple Mildliner, I'll create 2 columns on the page on the left. The first column is where I will log my exercise and activity next to each day. The second column is broken into 3 sections where I list my AM, evening, and late night medications. The whole page on the right is for notes. I'll also add green horizontal lines between each week in the exercise column. And each section gets labeled with the 05 Pigma micron. The notes section is where I can jot down anything that might be relevant that doesn't have its own space, including conversations I have with my doctors. Now I'll turn back to the previous spread and fill in the headers for the first couple of columns so you can get an idea of what it will look like. I'll fill in the rest of the categories at the beginning of March because sometimes I do change what I track from month to month. And now it's time for the final flip through. Starting with the mini cover page / mega header, I'm very happy with how this theme turned out. I love the springtime cappies from Hubman and Chubgirl, but this layout would work with any kind of sticker. And if you don't have any scalloped washi, I think this would also work with a solid torn washi if you tear the washi lengthwise. The last few days of March will eventually share this spread with the first 4 days of April. Then flipping to my health tracker spread for March, all set up and ready to get filled out. That's all I have for you for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.